Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet. Lakers driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. Chris McGee, James Worthy, Robert Ory, Allie Clifton's going to join us in a little bit. We got Trudell and Brez working the post game per usual. Lakers win as the gang gets back together. LeBron and Dennis return along with AD. They're now on a 4-game win streak, and with the final game tomorrow, there's still a little hope to grab that 6th seed.
Yeah, it's unfortunately they have to depend on another team, to lose a game. But yeah, it's still possible. It kind of feels like the old movie The Blues Brothers right now. We're getting the band back together.
Yes,
because they're getting pieces back together. LeBron and AD, shooter, and you can see a little boost of confidence. But we'll just have to wait and see. The Lakers still have to win their game tomorrow against the Pelicans, and we'll have to see how this season's going to unfold before that play-in week.
Rob, before you go, you have 7 rings, but the king is talking. Let's go to Indiana. Mike Trudell with LeBron James.
All right, LeBron, Indy cuts it to 3. You go on that 7-0 run on offense. Just thinking about what you said before, the second half, the ankle got a little stiff when you returned the last time. I wondered how it felt this second half and how you were able to overcome that, if it did, down the stretch.
Oh, much better. Much better than it did. I think that was the Toronto game, the last game that I played. The ankle just felt a lot more mobility, a lot more movement. It was warm. A tiny bit of soreness today, right now as the game is over, which I expected it, but I didn't have a setback today, so that's a damn good job for myself and for Mike Mancias and the medical team.
Yeah, LeBron, it's so hard to replicate NBA basketball. You can't unless you're playing. So how important was today for you to just get out there, get a run in with the playoffs fast approaching?
The funny thing is, it actually threw me for a loop too, because I knew I wanted to kind of gear up and play in tonight's game, which I actually thought was a night game. And then yesterday we making a flight, and they said we play tomorrow at 1. So I was like, oh man, so I got to get going early. I got to get my engine revved up early. I didn't know how the ankle was going to respond with it being a 1 o'clock start, which is actually 10 o'clock for us on the West Coast. But responded very well, and I'm excited about what tomorrow holds.
All right, LeBron, and I'd be remiss not to just ask you about the Hall of Fame induction ceremony today. KG, Tim Duncan, and, of course, Kobe Bryant. You guys got the chip for him last season. Just wanted to know where your head's at with what's going on and everybody who's speaking later today.
Well, it's a celebration of greats, and you just named 3 of them. One of them happened to be, a brother of ours with the Laker organization, someone who set the tone for this organization for 20 years, and Kobe, and it's an unbelievable time for himself, looking down on all of the compliments that he had for his wife and his daughters, and for his daughter that's up there going to be watching alongside Kobe when they watch the enshrinement. So it was a beautiful thing to see Vanessa, put the jacket on his daughter, on his eldest yesterday. Beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful time for the Lakers. Like I said, it's a celebration for another Laker great, and just happy to be a part of his legacy.
Thanks, LeBron. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
All right, here it is, guys. Take a look at Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Remember, LeBron had missed 26 of 28 games. LeBron played 28 minutes. AD played 36. AD finished with 28. 17 of those were in the first quarter. He also had 10 rebounds and 5 assists. LeBron James got heated up. 24 points, 11 of 22, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds. Rob, I'll start with you. What did you see from LeBron tonight?
I saw some good movement. Saw some great ball movement. So it was all about movement for him. When you have an ankle injury and you're coming back, you have to have that good movement. And sometimes you have a little rust. But it didn't like LeBron James had in rust. But I did see where it was kind of hard for him to start back up when they had that big lead and he sat for so long. So that's one of those things that's going to come with time, and that's why I'm liking the fact they got one more warm-up game so he can knock off a little bit more rust. But overall, I give him an A for how he played. He moved the ball, and he gave everybody that energy also with him being back in the lineup.
8 assists. That's what I was looking for. 8 assists. I was looking for how he was going to make it easier for other players. I especially think with he and AD in the game, Drummond's able to get some easy pickups inside because they draw a lot of attention. Also, I think his movement toward the cup was pretty good. There wasn't any like laboring or limping or anything like that. So I did see, though, when he takes a little rest, some over there tightening the shoestrings up because in the last game his ankle got a little sore. So recovery time will be key, and it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to a back-to-back game.
Even for a guy like LeBron James that doesn't seem human sometimes, even he said the good news was no setback. So mentally, even for LeBron, today was really important. It was great to see. And it was also great to see Anthony Davis. And I bring up the first quarter, guys, because he just had a different look about him. The speed, the quickness, that first step when he went from the top of the key, blew by his defender to the rack and laid it in. A couple of those lob dunks, getting to the free throw line 10 times, making 9. The rebounds, the activity, the steals, the blocks, all that big game, James. He was feeling good today, and you could tell.
Yeah, and it's key. It's paramount that he starts the game like that. Now, you don't expect him to sustain it for four quarters, but he has to set the tone early, and the rest of the team will follow. So I like his non-hesitation, catch and go right away, creating the contact, getting to the foul line. That's the AD that we know. So he has to start games like that. He can't wait till the fourth quarter because, along with LeBron, they set the tone for how the intensity of the game is going to be played.
I saw something in the first half that I hadn't seen in a long time, whereas AD had a guy that was much smaller on him, and he just bully balled him. He just backed him down, and went over the top. And before that, AD would try to be quicker or go, or shoot a jumper. But that's the AD you want to see, an aggressive AD. When he's doing that, that means his mindset is say, oh, I'm going to score in this paint and nobody can stop me. And with him doing that, it sets up so many other things, from the 3-ball, the blow-by, and be aggressive AD, and this team will be a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's a great sign to get all these guys on the same page. Like I said at the top, the gang back together. They only had one game prior to this, and that's Sacramento, where the starters were running together. But I bring up that Sacramento game because the offense in the fourth in that game really struggled. And you saw it a little bit tonight, guys. Over 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, where they couldn't scratch, where they went into that drought, where they didn't look like they had any rhythm or spacing. Now, LeBron ends up hitting a couple shots in ball game. But does that concern you at all heading into the playoffs?
It does. It concerns me because the team that gets big leads and does not sustain that, they get really stagnant. And, that's what happens when you have great players. Every team, we had Kareem, we went to him. But you cannot stop the motion of the offense. You want to go to LeBron, AD, that's fine. But you just can't stand around and let the defense hone in on you. They made some turnovers, too, during that stretch. So they're a little rusty. I'd like to see them get back to the motion. Schroeder handling a little bit. I know he was out of the game, but Schroeder handling and let LeBron and AD come off some other plays. But that stagnation will hurt you down the stretch.
And you don't want that to become a habit, because once you get into the playoffs, those turnovers will be magnified. So you have to be ready. Now, this next game, they can have that, because you saw a couple of lackadaisical passes and the guys losing focus. And that's the main thing about the playoffs. You have to be focused. In these last couple of games, well, 1 or maybe 2, you have to key in and stay focused and understand, like, hey, this is the playoffs. Guys are going to shoot the gap for passes, make sure that pass is there and on point, and just stay mentally ready, because it's all about the mental capacity of the game.
Yeah, and we won't know where they play till all 72 games are done and finished. And as James said, kind of got to rely on another team to see if they're in the main draw or in the play-in. All right, let's get you to the highlights with 2 games left in the regular season.